for Mr. Hattersley.
Yes. Hello, Brian. Good morning. I was wondering if Mr. Hattersley, I heard you mention that he was a writer in his spare time, and I was wondering if he might feel that, well, there's two authors in particular that I've been impressed with. That's R.D. Laing and Alan Watts. They're both Englishmen. And I was wondering if they still might have an impact, some of their work on the thinking people in England, and if he might not feel that the debate in our century between communism and capitalism might move in the 90s to a debate between freedom and fascism. Thank you.
I think the freedom debate is going to be the great debate of the rest of this century. I think it's going to be a great argument about what freedom means, not simply who will put their hands up for freedom, because from now on everybody's going to put their hands up for that. Mr. Gorbachev puts his hand up for it. Most of the Chinese put their hand up for it and pretend the Cultural Revolution never happened. And we in Western Europe are all arguing for our different forms of freedom. I think it's coming about as people get more and more prosperous and say, I've got some money to spend now and I want the right to spend it on those things which I find attractive, enjoyable, exciting. And I don't want the barriers which have been there before to stand in my way and stand in the way of my children doing any better. I think it's freedom that we're all going to be talking about for the rest of the century. Now, who are the authors who are going to dominate what we say and do? I think still John Stuart Mill. I think he's a basic text on freedom. But I think after that there is a new school coming up. A man I mentioned earlier on, not so new, but more and more important, John Rawls, who does define freedom in this positive way, the right to do what I want to do, not the theoretical ability to do it, but the practical right to do it, what he calls agency, the money in my pocket, the ability to do those things which are attractive to me. That's the view of freedom which I think we're going to hear more and more about, but I agree with you, it's the dominant theme for the politics for next 20, 25 years.
Speaking of themes, what's the theme on your novel and when's it going to be published?
Well, it's a historical novel. It's a Victorian novel. It's about Victorian England. It's a saga, and it's a representation of my obsession with the big Victorian novel.